All right, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for joining us on Titan Talk. Lieutenant Coop here, and I've got ourselves our local talent, Lieutenant McFarland, with us as well. Today we're going to go over a little bit of regular information that we normally do, just kind of chatting a little bit, but we're also going to go over radio etiquette here in a little bit. But Lieutenant McFarland, being the sports fan that he is, really wanted to bring up the Chiefs game this first thing.
Red Monday. Got a home game.
Oh, is it a home game?
Yeah.
Ooh.
One of our directors.
That's right. He said that.
So some Titan people will be there.
Devin, thank you for joining us.
Chiefs play the Raiders tonight. Raiders are usually, lately they've been a trap game, which is basically we're kind of, if we win, we were supposed to. If we lose, it's like, whoa. So
Yeah.
Last year we lost to them, I think, once out of the 2 times.
Hold on.
No audio?
How about that? No, I had you muted.
Oh, that helps.
So McFarland's been talking this whole time.
Yeah. So, got ourselves a Red Monday, which is Chiefs. Usually Red Friday, people wear you'll see them at the office wear jerseys and stuff when we have a game that weekend. So it's a Red Monday. It'd be 7:15, I think, is when the game is against the Raiders. They're a pretty big rival, so it's they're always a tough opponent no matter what. I think their schedule's like 1-4, so they're not very good. But
The Raiders?
Yeah, they always play tough against us. Yeah, they're last in the division, so it's like they've got nothing to lose. If they lose, as expected, we're expected to win, but it's what some people call a trap game, so that does happen. So it'll be exciting. Make sure you tune in and root for the home team. But yeah, we'll go over radio etiquette here a little bit.
Real quick, I do want to make mention. I've just thought about it actually. Sorry to interrupt you this time. Tables have turned. So I know last week on Friday we had some technical difficulties. I think I've got it figured out. So for those of you watching, Devin, I know as of right now you're the only one here. So thank you for suffering with us. If you see any issues between the audio and the video, just let me know in the chat, man. I've been messing with this and messing with it. We got some new equipment, but I think I got everything fixed. So hopefully that all stays squared away. But if you guys see any issues, just let me know, and I'll see what I can fix while we're live. But
yeah, I think last time was because we scrubbed over the video, right?
So from what I figured out, my laptop is a little on the older side, and it doesn't like the fact that I was trying to do a 60 frames per second and then switch back and forth between
A lot going on.
the video and everything else, so it freaked it out. So I think I got it fixed. Well, here's hoping.
Yeah, we'll just kind of fake it as we go along. So, but yeah, so one thing I wanted to bring up: some of our posts still require or have radios. Some of the higher crime areas that we're in, and just the areas where a phone is not really our greatest means of communication. So we want to keep the radio chatter to a minimum, so people can be heard if there is an issue, stuff like that. More of it's going to be our patrol guys, which they all do a really good job. But if you find yourself a post that has a radio, just kind of brush up on our 10 codes. They can kind of they can get a message out quicker than saying like, "Hey, I'm all clear, nobody's hurt, everybody's good." It's just a simple code 4 is what we'll say, So like my badge number is 504.
How do you not know
I
that?
forgot for a second. And so if I arrive to a scene, we'll let dispatch know. I'll say 504 is 1097, and then either the post number or sometimes I'll just say the name of where I'm
address.
at. Yeah, or the address. I'll say I'm at 31st and I'm 1097 31st Prospect, and so they'll know who it is and know where I'm at, and so they know. Especially if it's an area that's, again, one of those higher crime areas or more of our active areas is what we call them. Dispatch is going to want to know kind of what's going on, so I'll check in with them every so often when I'm out in the field and I'm stopping at a more active post. That way they're aware, and if they haven't heard from me from a while, they'll either call me or reach out and just a simple, we're still code 4. I show up because we have a domestic dispute. They are our ear in the night, and so they're super crucial to keeping track of us, our guys, and the safety. If we need emergency services dispatched, they're very quick to be able to do that. So what I'm getting at is don't be on the radio talking a bunch. And like I said, mostly everybody that has radios at their post knows this and does a really good job. So, and not everybody knows the 10 codes, so that's perfectly fine. They should be in most of our SOP books.
I actually believe that we put, and I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm like 80% positive that's something that we put out on the document side of eHub. And so that way, if you guys ever needed that, you guys could look it up. And I believe it's got the 10 codes. It's got some phone numbers on there as well for emergency contacts or office contacts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I think there's a report one on there as well. But there's some stuff that we put out there that kind of helps clue in or give you that information if you don't already have it, or if you're interested because you've heard us using it in the field.
Yeah, and you can use, like KCPD, for example, they just say what they're doing. They don't really have any codes, and there's anywhere from a couple hundred officers on it at any given time, so there's a lot of chatter and stuff. So, but just to limit ours and keep that lifeline open, we just try to keep that radio traffic to a minimum. And most of you guys probably have posts that don't have a radio. But if you're one of the ones that do our again, more active areas, it's crucial to have that radio, because you can get a message. If someone says, "Hey, I got a fight breaking out," you just come over the radio and say that shot's fired.
And the advantage of the radio too is in those higher activity areas is it's not just a phone call is a one-person solution. Right. That radio reaches out to, 6 patrol officers that we have along with the supervisor and dispatch. So if you need to get that information out, to a mass of people when you're in that high activity area, you don't just you're not sitting there making phone call after phone call after phone call.
And exactly like I said last week, I think it was Friday when we did the reaction video. I said I had a similar situation at a grocery store. There was a shooting right in front of me, like feet in front of me. And so I just had to react, And so as I was kind of getting some cover and getting the patrons to a clear area, I just came over the radio and I said 2280 shots fired, and that's all the information I gave. And immediately dispatched KCK PD. They were there within minutes. The situation was kind of resolved, and I had one of the guys in custody already, so it worked really well. And like you said, that if there had been a patrol, I think like 3 or 4 of our patrol guys showed up. Obviously a little later than KCK did, but it got to everybody at the same time. And so I've done it before where someone's like, "Hey, I got a fight breaking out," and they forget to say who they are, where they are. Dispatch knows who that radio is assigned to, and then I come over and say 504, who was that and where they at? And so they would tell me, and I would start my patrol car in that route to get hopefully the closest person there. So there's a lot of advantages to it. And again, if you're at a post you don't have one, it's not that.
Well, and the cool thing is the radio etiquette. These 10 codes and everything. Sure, they're meant and designed for radio use to keep that interaction short and sweet and as limited as possible. You can use these on the phone too when calling dispatch and talking to them. You can still use these shortenings, because then it makes the phone call quicker. So that way, dispatch is more available for somebody else to be able to use.
Yeah, you guys can't see, but we have 3 phones on the table right now, and that's not all of ours.
Well, we should have 5.
Yeah, we should have 5.
No,
but
wait, is it?
So we're
2? Yeah,
it's 5.
It's 5.
2, one personal at work, and then we share the lieutenant phone. So. Luckily, Lieutenant Brown, congratulations, by the way. I don't know if we congratulated him or not on the air.
We did.
Oh, yeah, we did.
We embarrassed him.
The new lieutenant is downstairs taking on the new lieutenant duty of babysitting the phone most of the time. So it's kind of a rite of passage. Most of you guys have probably spoke to him before, but he's babysitting that. So, yeah, like the point of that is we're on the phones a lot, and he's exactly right to shorten that time, And so sometimes joking around, we'll say somebody's like, if somebody gets really worked up about something, we'll say they're 10-8 about something. And so we know exactly what we're talking about when we say that. Yeah. I think I stole that from Mr. Joshua Leon and Todd Sparks. They're the ones that started that, or at least originally said it. Now it's something I use. So, but yeah, there's those 10 codes, and use the Titan ones because different departments mean different things.
And that's the thing too, is like, I actually talked to an officer. Okay, I talked to him like recently. This was 2 or 3 years ago. And he was asking me about 10 codes. And he goes, "Yeah, I printed off the Johnson County 10 code list." And I was like, "Hey, look, that's a great list to learn. It's cool to understand. But like 5 of those are the same codes that we use outside of that. Because if you call it 1097 for us versus like Johnson County, those are 2 different codes.
Yeah.
They mean 2 wildly different things.
Yep. 10-8 is starting service. So 10-8. I don't know why.
And 10-8 for us
and Leon.
Well, ours is returning to service, isn't it?
No. Yeah. Technically, yes. Yeah. So when you clock in, you're going 10-8. Yeah, when you clock out, you're going 10-7. 10-4, obviously, everybody knows what that one means.
As to say, I think the one universal is 10-4 and 10-20.
Yeah. 10-9 means repeat. So if someone's unclear, and it happens quite a bit.
Well, you would say 10-9, you were 10-1.
Yeah.
Please repeat.
10-9 and 10-1 means indistinguishable. You can't understand you. So 10-9 is repeat, and then 10-1 is I couldn't hear you. And so, yeah, like I'd be like 504 to, you're 502?
502.
502.
Really?
I don't remember these things. I got enough 10 codes to remember in my head, but I'll say 504, 502, go ahead and 109, you're 101. And so that means to him, if he hears it clearly, he goes, oh, okay, whatever I just said, I have to repeat to him. So instead of saying, hey, I couldn't hear you, can you send that all again? You just say 109, you're 109, you're 101.
And that's like the best thing with those 10 codes is it takes like a conversation that would normally be, which we take for granted. It sounds like, oh, well, it'd be a minute and a half long conversation. You can cut that minute and a half down to like 10 seconds.
Yeah. Well,
and it clears out that so much of what's going on.
Yeah. So if somebody else has an issue, they can't step on top of your, they call it walking on each other's traffic. And there's always a new guy that'll do that. And so if I'm in the middle of transmitting a message and have the button pressed either on my shoulder mic or just on the actual radio, no one else can get through. And so that's why that timeliness of being effective in transferring messages to each other on the radio is important, because you hold the air at that point. And so that's why it's crucial to be quick and efficient. And it happens. I mean, these radios they're just machines. They don't always work right. So matter of fact, some of ours, it's really weird because our hub is here at the office, and there's nowhere there's a few spots you can probably find where your radio will pop in and actually have service. So most of the time you're here, you don't have service.
Yeah, it's fun. There's multiple reasons it does that. It's one, we're underneath the tower itself, and we're going through, multiple floors of concrete. But our main hub, like tower booster, is here at the office, but we've got a few little boosters throughout the city, and you'll get some areas that you'll get really great signal, and some areas where you'll be 10-1, and it'll take a second for everything to kind of come across.
It's funny, over at Union Station in their dispatch security office.
Billy, thank you for joining us. Have fun working the Chiefs game.
She's working it. Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. Could be fun.
As long
as you get to see it.
Yeah.
As long as you're not like somewhere stuck. But again, the atmosphere there is cool, so that'd be a cool gig. So, but
I think that'd be a gig you would enjoy more than I would.
Probably, yeah. I don't know if I want to be working there. I'd like to have a few adult beverages and stuff. Can't really do that on the clock.
I don't know if you can do that on the clock.
I mean, if I could do that and work there, that'd be great.
Yeah.
But I highly doubt that would happen. So, but no, it's just weird. Some places it works better than others, and again, there's lots of factors. So if you're like, "Why does my radio not work here?" I don't really have an answer for you.
There's no good answer.
It'd be the metal plate. So who knows? But so it's just important.
I'll be on the 50-yard line on a visiting bench on the field.
That's way cool. I would do that for sure.
That's crazy.
Well, not for the Raiders game, because I hate the Raiders. And Raiders fans are the worst fans.
Well, no, hold on now. Let's not get political here.
Just like KU fans. They're just, nobody likes a KU fan besides a KU fan. Same with the Raiders.
But. It's funny. I'm not a huge, hopefully everybody at this point knows this. I am not a sports guy. I do a lot of things really well. Sports is not one of them. Memorizing sports things is not. I get sports references all the time here, and I kind of just stare at them, and they're like,
smiles and nods.
Yeah, I know exactly sure. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think I caught my first one this weekend where someone made a sports reference. I'm fired. Okay, well, I'm going to pack up, guys. That was Ryan Smith said I'm fired. So that's the end of this podcast. Good luck.
He probably doesn't have to go through HR for that. I think he can just lay the hammer down.
I think he can just do it.
He's like, I own this place. You're done. But yeah, no, the Raiders. I'm just, and sorry to Raiders fans. Be self-aware. One of our really, really good supervisors is a huge Raiders fan, and I give her a hard time almost every time we talk. So I should probably reach out to her today. I think she works nights, though.
Oh, it's not me. Woohoo! It's McFarland for the KU comment.
Oh, no. He knows I'm right, though. Well, and I was born a Nebraska fan. When I grew up, it was how much are we going to win by, and I think we finally won 2 games this year so far. So back-to-back, and we're acting like we're going to the championship again. So it's just don't take it out on me. I suffer a lot. Okay, I suffer. I remember
one time I actually got tickets from Ryan Smith as a gift to a KU game, and this was a while back.
The basketball game?
It was a basketball.
Dude, that is as much as I don't like their fans, it's a magical place on game day.
I'm not a sports guy, but I couldn't turn them down. It was like, sure, I've never been to a professional game, and so I went. And what blew my mind is I'm sitting up there. It was me and my fiance at the time, and there was another Titan officer that came with his girlfriend, and we're sitting there right next to each other. And there's this kid one row down from us, right in front of us, just listing stats off. Yeah. I mean, just like going to town on every one of the players on not just the KU side, but the other side. And I'm staring at this kid, and I'm like, this kid's not more than 14 years old, and he knows more about sports than I will ever learn in my entire life.
And you think I know a lot? There's guys out there like that's mainly why I don't play fantasy football. Just because I get frustrated when I'm not really good at something. Yeah. And so I if I don't stay caught up on all the players, I don't know who the best wide receiver to have is and stuff like that. And some of the league rules are weird, but my little brother he's just a walking fact book. Yeah. It's insane. And
Ryan said he's trying to remember the last time they won, or when they won their last national championship, the KU.
It was last year.
Was it last year?
Yeah. It was either last year or the year before. Yeah.
Gary says Rock Chalk Chicken Hawk.
Oh, I didn't say that. No, I will give credit where credit is due. Kansas has a phenomenal basketball organization. Phenomenal. They're always going to be good. They're always going to be good. So kids come from all over the country to play there.
You know,
the campus is nice too.
I will say the campus is very nice.
I'm just not a huge fan of the town itself, and most of the people that go there.
Isn't Leon a KU fan?
Yeah, anybody on the Kansas side's got to be. It's like Nebraska. You don't technically. The Chiefs are on the Missouri side, so they don't technically have a professional team really to root for. And Nebraska's the same way. It's just a bunch of corn and farmers up there. And Memorial Stadium, I think Lincoln becomes like the second or third largest city in the state, and it's like nowhere near that. Outside of Saturdays. But, yeah, no, it's a pretty unique experience.
Billy, thanks for joining us. Have a good night. Stay safe during that.
KU is a really cool place on game day. Just their pregame where they tear up a newspaper and that rock chalk. Almost like an Erie. They say it really slow. It's like rock chalk. And they have like it's a cool deal. I was dating a girl at the time who's a huge KU fan, so she drugged me out there, and I was glad she did.
Shanae, I hope you're not watching.
She knows who she is. She was a good one. She took good care of me. So, but Shanae does better. So.
We got at McFarland. You need to work on the shine on your head.
I told him. That's what I told him today. I said it's so hot in here. I sweat every time we're in here, and I look shiny.
Oi, no texting while driving. That's 100% correct. No texting while driving.
Yeah, buckle up and phone down or whatever that new campaign they're doing. But
is that what it is, really?
I think so. I saw it somewhere. I don't remember where I saw it at, but buckle up and phone down. So it's not worth it.
It's really not.
No,
the ticket's like $150, and then
death.
That's best case scenario. Worst case scenario, you're done.
Yeah. Or somebody else, God forbid. No, it's just not worth it. And we were talking about cars the other day. I have an old car that I can't even see my display. Most phones. I was with Leon. We were going to range, and it read him his text message from
mine doesn't
from somebody, and I was like, "What in the world?"
Mine's got a little
future is now.
Mine's got a little listen button, so if it'll go off and it'll say text message from McFarland.
Yeah, and he text back.
Yeah, I can hit listen, and then I can hit on my steering wheel I can hit listen and then record.
Yeah, so that is zero excuse for you to text and drive. I know everybody does it. Save it for a stoplight or a stop sign,
or just don't do it.
That's
the best way to do it.
Yeah.
How do you avoid getting a ticket or crashing for that? Don't do it.
Yeah. So radio etiquette. Back to that.
Way off topic.
No, the KU game or the Chiefs game and stuff that'll be fun to watch tonight. But just the radio etiquette and stuff. The 10 codes are listed in our SOPs, but those are the main ones we went over.
I actually think Gary brought this up. He said that he got a copy of it in Neo, and I'm pretty sure that Todd hands a copy of it every time. So, I mean, you get the copy in Neo, but there's also I am almost positive it's on eHub. If it's not, if someone in chat knows that it's not or knows that it is, please put it in chat so we've got it there. But I'm pretty sure it's in eHub.
It's just 10, I believe. No pun intended. I think there's more than 10. It's got the phonetic alphabet on there.
I think the most commonly used.
Or like the 1 through 10. I don't know what a 10-2. I can't remember 10-2, but code 4 means everything's clear, so that's a good one to know.
If you ever hear 10-20, they're asking where you are on property.
Yep. 10-12, I believe, is a phone call. Mm-hmm. Dispatch used to do that a lot.
All the time.
It's hey, post so-and-so.
Are you clear for a 10? Are you clear for a 10-12?
Yep. I believe 1028 is license. 1027 is license plate. So, like, if you're running somebody's information, if you have somebody that's loitering on property or something, you're trying to look for warrants.
Yeah, that's very well. And
that's a patrol thing.
That's a patrol thing. That is specific.
Yeah. So, you definitely want to call a supervisor and ask for permission before you start running people's information over the air. But Most people that know how to do that. Our Independence Avenue guys do that all the time because they have frequent.
Devin, to answer your question, if you have your eHub up, go ahead and look to see if there is a copy of the phonetic alphabet and the 10 codes in the documents section.
Yeah, it's going to be like almost 3 bars in the top right, and you go to the documents. There's a if you want to transfer your post, if you're wanting to move or you're moving and you need to go to try and find something closer to home or whatever reason, there's a post transfer on there, which is really helpful for us.
There's actually a large amount of the post SOPs on there as well.
Yes,
we're making a huge push to get the rest of them on there, but we've got a massive amount of regular ones on there.
And keep that in the Titan family. That's our information for us to have. So please respect that. And so there's stuff on here we don't go over.
We're trusting you.
Yeah, there's stuff on here that we won't go over. I won't usually call out clients just for privacy reasons, And most of them we have, obviously all our clients we have great relationship with. I doubt they would care, but that's not for me to decide.
Right.
So keep that information to you and keep it private.
We're talking about radio etiquette and everything that we're using. That kind of brings into it's kind of a moot point for me and you because we're on YouTube.
Guess what? We're live.
Yeah. That's what radio numbers are for. So when it comes to 99% of the time when you hear someone call it over there, it's mostly SOPs. It should be there somewhere, Gary. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm almost positive I saw it. But when we're using radio etiquette, most of the time, I'd say 99% of the time, we don't use names. We use we don't use your employee numbers either. We use the post codes, which would be like 2598, 2566, whatever that post number, and then we use like for us lieutenants or the patrol corporals or patrol officers, they use their route number or their patrol officer number. So like our supervisors are 400 units, and then we have our patrols, which are 300s. And then, so we don't use actual names, and we don't use, if we're calling an officer, we know they're standing at a post, we don't call out the officer's name over the radio. This would be 502 to 2598, you got a copy.
Yep.
And then that way, because it adds in that privacy, it's like I'm not looking to air out everything that's going on. If you're at that post, I'm trying to talk to you.
Right. And most of you guys, we've got a lot of former military guys. It's backwards in the military. Well, we're backwards from the military.
Yes. The military does it the other way.
You say your number and who you're trying to reach after. It's reverse. So you can always tell when a guy on the radio's been in the military
because they'll say
they do it wrong.
Yeah, they do it the opposite way.
Which is technically, I think, the right way to do it.
But at the same time, we do it the opposite way because we're trying to be different. We're not.
Right.
It's the same reason that our codes are a little bit different because our codes are kind of like an amalgamation, a mix of
I bet Ryan, if he's still on there, he's probably the one that drew him up, and it's probably from his old department.
I don't know.
I would be...
Ryan, if you're still here, that might be a good answer.
I would be like 60% sure that that's probably what it was, because unless him and Leon came up with their own.
Need to know. There it is. So it's under the need to know. There you go, Gary. Look at you. Good find.
It's a good spot for it.
Well, it's a whole form because it's got on there emergency contact numbers that you can check into.
Right.
The lieutenant phone. It's got all of that information.
Yeah.
And then it's got the phonetic alphabet. It's got a list of the 10 codes. And then I think there's one other thing on there that I'm missing, but I can't remember what it is.
It's more than I know.
I helped make it a while back, and I kind of forgot what I put.
Yeah, it's a cool tool. So if there's stuff on there you guys think we should put in, we're always open for
just like everything.
Keep sending good topics to our email for suggestions.
And it's blank.
It's blank.
Fantastic. Gary, thank you for checking. I will make sure we fix it.
Our heart was in the right place. Our heart was in the right place.
Devin, I need you to confirm this for me.
And it's blank. Well, that's good. Now we know what to fix. Can't put out a fire.
Man.
We can't put out a fire that we don't know that it exists. So
that's really fucking great. Though. That's hilarious. Oh man, Devin, if it's blank for you too, let me know. Oh
again,
man, that's
heart
funny.
was in the right place.
Hey,
good
we
intentions.
tried.
Bless
right,
our
we tried.
hearts. But so yeah, just keep in mind that stuff. Keep that stuff confidential. That's in there. That's for Titan employees only. So other than that, those are the 10 codes we go over. Those are the most that we use. There's a few more on there, I think.
And there's some on there. So one of the questions I used to get when I was training, when I was an FTO sergeant or back when I was a regular sergeant, I was doing a bunch of FTOs every day. A big thing I would always get is there's a bunch of 10 codes, like on that list that you guys get in NEO, there's a bunch of 10 codes on there and that you will probably never use. And I always get, well, what are they on there for? We put them on there so that way if you're working and you hear one of those, because there's a couple of codes on there that are emergency codes, and they are like the worst case scenario stuff. If you hear one of those codes, we want you to know that it's probably time to stop using the radio unless somebody asks for you specifically, because that means that like bad stuff is going on and the air needs to be clear. And so sometimes we provide that information to you guys so that way you have it. So if you hear, hey, and I don't remember what the exact codes are, because we haven't used one in so long because we haven't had one of those emergencies. Knock on.
Yeah.
But when you hear that, it's like hearing, there's a 10-500. It's like, oh no, I better stop trying to clock in and out. I better call somebody now instead, because they're using the air for an emergency.
Yeah. So usually what will happen if the dispatch will come over and say, hey,
thanks, Devin.
Please disregard discontinue radio use. The air is being held for 504 or 502. Like if him and I had to go clear a building at night, we'll usually hold the air just in case, because we're about to go into a potentially dangerous situation. Especially if we know where it's at, or if there's someone that we know is not barricaded, but we know there's somebody suspected to be on property. Dispatch calls us, hey, this guy that's always here, we know he's been known to have a firearm or a knife on him. Just in case, we say, hey, hold the air for myself and 502, and dispatch will say, attention, all units. Yeah, the air's being held. Please discontinue radio use. Call the office if needed, stuff like that. So, and then also, it's not just the 10 codes. There's proper etiquette on how you speak. Make sure you're not stepping on each other. So if you transmit a message, give them time to respond. This is a big one with dispatch, and I used to harp on the guys that didn't do it. I would, visit them because I was usually on the road at the time, and I'd say, hey, you need to give dispatch time to respond. Okay, so give them at least 60 seconds before you keep blowing them up and saying, hey, this is 2280 dispatch. Do you have such and such or whatever information? Give them some time. They are handling multiple phone calls. They're also, monitoring cameras, and they're not just sitting there waiting for you. So they do help you when they can, but just please give dispatch the allotted time. And sometimes they're not, they've got enough going on, they may not hear you. So that's where you give them about 60 to 90 seconds. And if you haven't heard from them, pending is not an emergency, give them that time and just say, hey.
Something you got to remember about the radios is it is an instant form of communication, but it's not like a cell phone.
Right.
It's not like I can call you on a cell phone and be like, hey, that's kind of the trade-off is it's instant, but there's also some time that I need to be able to process what you said,
right.
Make sure that I'm on the air with you, and then make sure this is all good.
Well, and the other thing, too, is you may not have come over the air. So be professional. There's no need to, have an attitude saying, hey, you forgot about me. What's going on? Actually, no, you never even came over. If it would happen on patrol quite a bit while you're rolling through an area, you could hit a dead spot, and if you're in your car or you're covering up where your radio's at, it's another thing. If you wear an outer vest, make sure you get it. Your radio usually positioned towards the front of you. Obviously, you're not going to put it in the back, but I wear mine kind of right over my belly to the left a little bit is where my pouch is. That way I can press the button and I can lean over to my shoulder mic and talk clearly, and you can talk normally. There's no need to yell, because a lot of us usually wear earpieces so that radio traffic stays confidential. Especially when you're dealing with somebody, if you're running information, I run this guy's info who me and Coop, when clearing billing, found, and he's not supposed to be there, and the client says, hey, I want him trespassed, and so we'll go through the process of getting his information. We also just do a secondary for our safety, is we'll run a background check through our dispatch system, and so I'll give his information out, and then dispatch will come back and say he's known to be armed and dangerous. Please proceed with caution. If he hears that could really alter how that situation is going to play out. Yeah. So some of us will wear earpieces, and it's really not as much of a problem as it used to be, just because not every site has a radio now. But they would come over and you would just rip that thing out because it was.
It's like they're trying to eat the microphone. So that's something as well as something to think when you say talk clearly and everything. The microphone you can keep the microphone either from the radio itself or the handheld unit if you've got access to one of those.
Into it. You don't have to.
You don't have to be super close to it. You can actually leave it, 4 or 5 inches away from your face, and you can talk just like normal. Yeah. Just like we're talking into the microphones here. Yep. And it will catch you, and it will pick you up.
Another thing too, there are man down buttons on all the radios. It's a little orange button, and it's actually kind of hard to get to. So the people that hit it frequently, it's frustrating because dispatch has to go to the top of the building and reset our hub here. And then every single officer and patrol car that has an in-car radio has to turn the radio off and then back on. So if you need it, that's what it's for. Use it. And what that does is that holds all traffic from other radios. So if, let's say this was the radio, the man down button's usually towards the top. It's a little orange button, and
it's usually in between the volume and the volume/power and the channel button.
Yeah, and so those two knobs up there, you'll see it. And what happens is people will put keys. I was guilty of it all the time. When before I had an outer vest, I would wear all my stuff on my belt. Well, I would have keys to my patrol car, and I would, start it and stop it quite a bit during the night. Instead of having to go into my pocket and get kind of around all my gear, I would take the key holder and slide it down the antenna. And so I knew those weren't going anywhere. Well, if I was kind of positioned where the antenna.
Okay, you're saying it right now.
Antenna.
There you go.
How did I say it? Antenna.
Yeah.
I put it on the antenna, and sometimes it won't go down all the way, and the key would get in between there. And I don't think I ever did it, but I've noticed people that have done it when they kind of bend weird and it hits up against your vest. It'll tag the button. And if you don't know you did it, any conversation you have will be picked up by
when you do it, you don't know because there's no sound emitted from your radio. Everybody else's radio will emit a squelch, and then it will open your microphone for about 30 seconds. Yeah. So everything you say is now being broadcast to every radio, and it's grabbed everybody's attention to listen.
The funniest true story of this is when Corporal Byers was here.
Oh, you're naming him?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'll call him out on this one.
I hope you're watching this.
He had done it. Well, he might, actually. I'll tell him to start watching it. He will. I think I don't know if he went back to days or he still works overnights, but he went on to a police department. I'm not going to say which. And him and I had stayed pretty close through the years. He's a real good guy, but he was singing country music to the radio.
Oh, I got one better.
And he had hit his man down by the car.
I got one better.
He's not a good singer. He's a great cop, not a good singer. But I'll never forget it to this day. And you could hear the roar of the car, and because it kind of cancels out the outside noise. But I can't remember what song it was, but man, he cannot carry a tune. That's for sure.
I got one better for you. So I'm not going to name mine because I'm nice. But we had a guy. He did the same thing. He was driving his car. It was probably 10:30, 11 o'clock at night, and he was trying to stay awake. At least that's what he says. We believe him.
I think I might know this one.
And he tagged the man down button, and as it clears everybody's radio and it broadcasts, he's singing Britney Spears' "Toxic."
Oh, that's way worse.
At the top of his lungs, just absolutely giving
Sometimes
it his all.
Sometimes you just gotta let that Britney out.
And we called him. We were like, "Hey, we appreciate you. We want you to understand that we love the fact that you want to try and sing, but we're really going to need you to not do that again." And he goes, "What are you talking about?" We go, "You hit your man down button." And he goes, "When?" And I went, "In the middle of Toxic." And he goes, "I got to go home, dude."
Yeah. That one, you might just have to leave and move to a different state, depending on how bad you are.
He did go home. He was sick all of a sudden.
Yeah.
No, he didn't. He actually finished shift, but we giggled about that for a long time.
There was another one. I don't remember exactly the details, but there's been a couple times. So just keep that in mind. And so what the moral of that is, be cognizant of where your radio is on your belt or wherever you wear it. And just know where that button is for not only not to embarrass yourself, but in case you hopefully don't, but do need it in the event that you've got something serious going on. And that's the reason behind that 30 second, it might even be a minute runoff.
I think it's 30, 35 seconds.
Yeah. It seems longer than it probably is, but if you are in a scuffle and you can't get to your buttons, a lot of times some departments will teach if you have to obviously use lethal force or anything to hit it, but for like OC and stuff like that or taser deployments, they teach you to press that before you engage, just so that has extra backing of, hey, my officer either did this right or did it wrong, and they have evidence for that. So,
well, Gary, at least he kept himself accountable. Gary said he had a supervisor who was a minister cussing while his radio was keyed up.
Yikes.
He goes, later he wrote himself up and had me sign it.
Well,
I'd say keeping himself accountable there. That's nice.
Hey, like I said, credit where credit's due. I can't stand KU fans, but they got a great basketball team. They always do. So, but yeah, so just be aware of that. They're expensive. So please be good to them. They're pretty durable.
Please be gentle.
Yeah, they're pretty durable.
They're durable, but still.
Make sure you know where they're at, and so you're not dropping them all the time. Be cognizant of that button, so you're not hitting the man down button all the time. I know, I'm not going to say any names, but I know one officer that we still have that does it quite a bit because dispatch called me and said, "Hey, this is like the 4th time he's done this month." And I was like, it's not an easy button to get to.
It's real.
That's what I don't understand.
It's designed to be used in an emergency. The only reason it becomes easy is if you go out and you buy a specific radio mic that has the button a little bit more accessible.
Yeah, it's like right towards the bottom.
Yeah.
See, I wouldn't. I'd be too afraid.
That's why I wouldn't buy. That's why I don't have one of those. But I understand why they do that, and you want to make it more accessible and you want to make it easier. I get that, 100%. But it's put in an awkward place like that to make it to where if you do touch the button, you're doing it on purpose.
Yeah. Well, the worst ones.
It cuts down the accidental pressings a lot.
The worst placement that I've ever, I do remember I have hit the man down button at least once that I can remember. I was out at one of our clients out by the airport, and in the cars we have most of our radios are kind of built in. We have a lot of former police vehicles that have kind of like the center console area stripped out, and they have like these modular systems where you can put in radios and lights for the car and stuff like that. So that was before, or that's now, but before when I was on patrol, we had more civilian style vehicles.
Back on Monday.
Yeah. So we had one where the radio was put in like in between, like where a lot of cars have like a little cubby spot right there underneath like the radio and all that stuff. Well, that's where Are you about to bring in my vehicle 44 on me? No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Anyway, I was reaching in there, and on our radios, the man down button's a middle button at the bottom of that. So my knuckle hit it, and I want to say I did it more than once. And dispatch calls me, and I can hear myself talking over the air.
Oh no!
Because it had the 30-second runoff, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm glad I didn't say anything really mean or bad during that." Yeah, so that's the worst place to have those for the patrol cars, which most of you guys won't even ever run into.
I say when I first started on patrol, it was probably a month into me being on patrol. I had my radio on my back left hip. And I got into one of the cars one day, and it snagged on the seat, and it clicked over, and it actually keyed up. It didn't hit the man down button, but it keyed up, and I didn't notice.
That'll happen too.
And I was sitting down, and I hit my head on the door frame because I caught the seat.
May have said an adult word.
Yeah. So, bang, and I went, son of a... And then I hear the doo-doo-doo, and I was like,
Yep.
I was like, I don't think it went across.
Hopefully
and then
not.
Dispatch to last unit. Last unit, go ahead. Please be advised of what you say over the air. And I was like, my bad.
Whoops.
Sorry.
It happens. So, but yeah, if something like that has happened, just come over and apologize. It's usually what we do. Like, apologize for the key up. No big deal. We've heard plenty of four-letter words over the radio.
Doing this for a living. Yeah. We all have heard that verbiage.
Yeah. Usually towards me from a guy that's not happy with me. But it does happen because most of us in this industry have probably colorful vocabulary, and if you accidentally hit it, you go, oh shit, or something. Just come back over and say, I apologize. Say, so-and-so, I apologize, or let us know that you're okay. Because sometimes when those adult words come out, it's usually when something bad's about to happen or is currently happening. So just own up to it. If it becomes a habitual issue, then we'll address it, and we may have to take your radio.
Yeah.
But just be honest, be patient
both,
with
Devin, both.
Be patient with dispatch. And just be cognizant of where that thing's at so we don't run into those accidental key ups and stuff like that. So.
Devin's like, which word? Is it this one or is it this one? It's both of them.
There's quite a few. So use your imagination.
There's one in particular, but we're not saying them.
George Carlin talks about how you cannot say them. So
there are like
the seven things. Yeah, seven no words.
Yeah, 7 no words.
Yeah,
but so. That's it. I mean, when it comes to radio traffic and etiquette, it's the
short and sweet.
Short and sweet. It's the basic stuff. Keep it. I mean, it follows the the KISS principle. Keep it simple.
Yeah, sure. That sounds like a good one.
I can't remember where I heard that. It was years ago, long time.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Keep it simple, stupid.
Or stupid, simple.
But watch your profanity.
And also they have GPS in them, so don't take them home because we'll come get them. And don't be the smart. And this is all stuff Instructor Sparks goes over. Don't be the smart guy that probably deserves to wear a tinfoil hat and try to put tinfoil underneath the bottom of your radio where, like, I think that's where the GPS locator is located.
That's not how it works.
It won't work. So
that's
if,
not how it
if
works
you think
at
you
all.
can clock in on your radio and go home and hang out and get paid, it's not going to happen. We'll find out. So. No, and we don't have guys that would do that. But
no.
we have to go over it because I'm sure there's always been someone in the past that has. Well, actually, I know.
I know for a fact there has.
There was...
I had to go collect it.
This was really annoying and dangerous. One of our sites got the radio stolen from, and this person would, I don't know if they had, well, it must have just been enough battery life for them to have it for a couple of weeks or days, and they would come over the radio and say something was happening that wasn't. So me and another supervisor raced out there as quick as we could to help somebody, and we ended up. It's almost like what they call swatting is when they were doing it with our radio for a while till we had it we just had to disconnect it from our network or however smart radio people do that. So don't be that guy either. Don't steal somebody else's radio. You shouldn't be working security if you steal things, but just again, be honest, be quick, and short and sweet, like we said. And then if you guys have questions, post them in here. But it's pretty straightforward. It's just one of the topics we wanted to cover today. And a lot of you guys are at sites. Excuse me. A lot of you guys are at sites where we don't have the need for radios, and that's good.
So Devin, that's a good one. Todd told us about that during orientation. I learned this a long time ago. There are rules that were made because they had to be made. There are rules that were made because there's laws and stuff like that.
Coffee's hot.
And then there are rules that are made because of the one individual who does something, and you're like, that's a safety issue.
Yep.
It's the same thing. We have the rules on the board for our patrol officers downstairs. Don't do anything stupid. Be nice to people. Don't
get home safe and don't end up on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite ones.
Two major rules. And, there are rules that were made for people specifically or because of people specifically. Yeah. Don't take the radios home. Well, if you take a radio home, you get in trouble. Yeah. it's there for a reason.
It is theft. And if you do it on accident, that's one thing. Just call us and say, hey, I accidentally.
No, they don't.
We have it happen with a lot of sites that have like keys and stuff that have full-time officers. Some of our schools will have our SRO, our school resource officer positions. Those guys will have keys, and they usually will take them home with them or keep them if the school lets them. But if by accident you're filling in for somebody and you take a set of keys home, just call us and say, hey, I got the keys. I'll bring them back, or just bring them back. That's fine too. It's not the end of the world. And again, if you continue to do it all the time, then we'll follow some disciplinary process because I got to get you to fix it eventually. But
can't have you
the
take
first
keys
time
home
or two.
Every day.
I understand. I literally today, perfect example. I drove to the office today and left my laptop at home. My wife, bless her heart, brought it to me around noon.
Well, bless his heart, love him. Walked in first thing and goes, I know I left this at home because my bag is light, and just rips his bag open and goes, see, it's not there.
I had a very crazy start to my day.
He was excited.
Yeah, it's just one of those Mondays. And
hey, James, how's it going?
So
Mr. Jensen's with us today.
Oh, nice. What's up, buddy? I haven't seen him in a while. I remember the first time I met him. He is a very tall man, and I'm tall. And I was like, oh, you're the new officer.
Hi.
And he's a Baltimore Ravens fan because this was during COVID. He had a Baltimore Ravens mask on. So they got a pretty good team this year, I think. So, other than that, like I said, those are the main things to work on or be cognizant of. And there's something else I was going to say. I don't remember what it was.
I got no clue. I have no idea what that. But nope. I got to real quick. I got to address a comment. Please tell me, Devin, that you are joking about the do not eat thing.
What?
He says that claymores have a do not eat on the front.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
No, please tell me you're joking.
This side toward the enemy.
I know there's a point towards the enemy.
That's what I was going to say. Is the McDonald's? Everybody knows that the reason why McDonald's has a caution hot on their coffee cups. Some lady spilled coffee on her and burned herself and sued them for like $20 million.
There's a little bit more to it, but yeah, that's the basics of it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's. I think she was an older lady and stuff, but still, water's wet.
That's terrifying.
Water's
Devin.
wet. Fire's hot. Use common sense. This industry requires a lot of common sense, so make sure you can do that. And yeah, don't steal our radios, and if you do, bring them back. Same with anything else that belongs to Titan. Don't eat claymores.
God, that's scary.
Don't eat Tide Pods. You know what is interesting? I'm not even going to go to that topic.
We're not going to do that.
We're going to move away from that one before I go there. So this is a Titan podcast. We're going to keep it Titan related. But yeah, the world is
a weird and interesting place.
Yes. So just use common sense out there, guys. You guys be careful. We've been on here for way too long. I think we have quite a few people watching right now, though.
We got a few. Fantastic. We have instructions on shampoo bottles. Yeah, we do. That's a fair point. Fair point.
That's what you used to read when you used to use a restroom.
I'm not gonna lie,
and didn't have a phone.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's not gonna lie.
Pre-phone, you just read the shampoo bottle.
When I was growing up, that was what I would do. If I had read the magazines that were in the bathroom already, which if you don't know that that's a thing, It's a thing I still do.
Oh yeah, no, they have little trays on the back of the restroom of the toilet.
Yeah, mine's mounted to the wall just here, right?
Magazines, yeah.
But if I ran out of the magazines were ones I'd read already, I would grab the shampoo bottles and conditioners. Like, okay, well, what's the active ingredients on this?
Right. Some of them have some funny stuff on there too. Like you can tell the marketing team was just like, put something weird on the back of the bottle.
Used to.
I can't remember who.
Pert used to do it, and then they got in trouble.
There's a couple that
they didn't get in trouble, but they
would have
got to change
some random facts or jokes or something. So
it's like the old
little touch, nice little touch.
Like, what's it called? The old popsicles that used to have the jokes on there.
Yep, the Laffy Taffies.
Yeah, and Laffy
those
Taffies
are worse than Coop jokes. So just so you guys know how bad his jokes are. Like there's dad jokes, and some of the dad ones are good, and then there's like.
Wait, are you saying
really
I do
even
have good
worse
jokes?
And then below those jokes are where Coop's jokes go to die because they're so bad. I got yelled at by our boss for allowing Coop to tell him a joke. He goes to me, he goes, "Why did you let that idiot tell me that joke? You're in trouble now." I said, "I wasn't even involved. I'm just here so I don't get fined." I'm
just here so I don't get fined.
As an old football player that was at a press conference, he didn't want to be. He's like, "I'm just here so I don't get fined." But so yeah, I was like, dude, that's so bad. And he's like walked over and was starting to tell the boss, and I didn't think anything of it, but I should have saved him the 35, 40 seconds of his life he'll never have back. And
it's not that bad of a joke.
The poor waste of oxygen. So yeah, it was awful. It was bad. Like it's bad.
It's not a bad joke. No, I've got some bad jokes.
No, not like that bad. Like as in content wise.
No, it's not funny.
At all.
No, it is.
Like, no.
I think you just have a broken sense of humor for that joke.
If I get yelled at by somebody else about how bad that joke was, I think it's pretty safe to say it's a bad joke.
Jensen, don't be mean. If Coop said a funny joke, I might faint from a total shock. Jensen, you can go away now.
Yeah.
That's mean. It was a funny joke.
No, it wasn't.
You guys want to hear it? No, I'm kidding. I'm
stop,
kidding.
Please. I don't want to get beat up twice for that joke. The world doesn't need to know that joke. It's
Gary,
not even a joke. We're giving it a title that's not true because it's not even remotely funny. It is a collection of words that do not make people laugh.
It made me laugh. That's like really all that matters. I don't even think
you laughed at it.
I do. I laugh every time at it.
Moving on from the joke.
Gary says, "Tell it." Oh, James says, "Tell it too."
Flashbacks.
we're gonna give McFarland PTSD.
I can't have that.
You know what? Let's do this. If I get, if we get
over 200 views of this video, he will publish the joke.
Let's do something realistic. If we get 100 views and we get 10 comments, that's not a lot. 10 comments.
We're already there, aren't we?
Asking for the joke. We've got 2 people saying it over and over again.
Share this with your friends. We try not to be those guys that are like and subscribe.
Yeah,
we just want you to be here if you want to be here. But if
you want to hear my bad joke,
the universe will pull it together and say, okay, this needs to happen. If 150 views. Because I really don't want to hear the joke. 1,000 views. No.
What if
150 is fair.
I'll mute you. No. You can't hear me.
150 is fair. I'll just leave. Because I'll get in trouble again.
I'll have to mute us and be like, you can come back.
150 views, and he'll publish a joke at some point in time.
I'm not calling everybody individually and telling you the joke. That is not going to happen.
No, it's just really unfortunate that thing's going to rear its ugly head again. But
the funny part is you brought it up.
I did, didn't I? Yeah, I did. I brought that thing back from the dead.
Oh, I love
where it belongs to, or it should be. Hocus Pocus 2 was amazing. Pumpkin spice lattes are in the air.
Oh God, not pumpkin spice again.
No, my dog got sprayed by a skunk, so we had to have the windows.
This the second time?
No, this was last week. So I was just updating people on what happened. So it's been nice and cool out. So luckily we've been able to have the windows down. And if anybody has any better ideas other than tomatoes juice, and then we looked up this peroxide. Which actually, never mind. It worked last night. My wife gave him like his 6th bath in a week.
Yes, he does.
His wife, my wife, gave him his 6th bath this week. He doesn't know what's going on. Like he doesn't mind baths, but he's just like, dude, come on.
Well, he likes it when Shanae gives him a bath.
Yeah,
he hates it when you do.
Yeah, he doesn't. He likes the hot water. So every once in a while, he'll just get in there while someone's in the shower. We have glass doors to our shower, and they're really easy to push open. So he just walks right in, and we're like, all right, well, I guess he wants a bath today. So he does it to her probably once a month, and so she's like, it's time. And so, some animals love it, some don't. But we finally got that kind of like the musty skunk smell off of him, which if anybody has gone through it, they know the pain. It's awful. And the remedy is it's hydrogen peroxide, baking soda, and Dawn dish soap. Get like the one that's got like
it's
a little
like an
duck
equal
on
mixture
it.
of like a cup each, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that. But you let it soak for like 20 minutes, and so that was the thing we weren't doing right. And so last night she finally did. Poor Eli, my dog, sitting there shaking because he's getting cold after a while, you know. And I've got a big tile shower, so it doesn't really hold the heat very much. I'm trying to get my wife to give me a space heater for the mornings, but it's only effective if you let it sit for that long. So anybody that has the unfortunate pleasure of knowing or in the future has that happen to one of their animals, make sure you let that mixture, and I don't know the ratio, otherwise I would tell you, but I think you're right. I think it's
like a cup of
cup ratio, and let it sit for about 20 minutes, and then make sure you give them a nice big bone afterwards for being a trooper, and then I'm going to make a sandwich for my skunk and put antifreeze on it. So
you can't say that. I don't think animal control would be happy with that.
I'm going to make a sandwich for our friend and make sure that he doesn't re-offend on the spraying thing. So I think he's living underneath our pool house because Eli goes out there and goes right to it and sniffs around the base of it for a while and then goes off and does his business. And then
comes back in.
Well, I think that's what happened. Yeah, it was awful when it happened because we thought someone was like burning trash outside when I let him inside. I was like, oh my god, what is that? And he kind of he ran over and did his thing. Probably got some water. And then he came back by it later. I'm like, man, it's still going. So I like went outside and I was like, no.
I don't see any smoke.
Yeah, and I was literally crawling around in our attic because we had a new fan put in, and so I was like trying to see if there was like an electrical fire. It did not smell like your stereotypical when you drive down the road and someone's either maybe some left-handed cigarettes and stuff like that. So it doesn't smell. It smells like burnt electrical wire.
It's bad.
Yeah, it was awful. So
Devin, I want to tell you, man, I apologize. My condolences on that. He said one of his cats passed away last Friday.
Oh, sorry to hear that, man.
You got my condolences, man.
That.
Recently
It's like losing a family member, man.
I recently had to suffer through it myself.
Yep.
My little guy, his name's Dusty. I have had him as long as I can remember. He's been a part of my life. When I moved here, I got him and I had him and everything. And
that was what, a year or two ago?
Yeah, it's been about a year now.
A year?
Just over a year. And it was probably one of the most devastating things I think had happened to me in a long time.
I'm definitely. I was telling Eli. I was telling my wife that Shanae's getting a little more gray and getting a little long in the tooth, and it's just chokes up just thinking about it.
Yeah.
There's gonna come a point in time where I get my last time with him. That's gonna be tough. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna buy like 5 more dogs because I want a pug. That's
really
Eli's he's a blue pit bull. He's a beautiful dog. One of the greatest I've ever.
Hold on, you want a pug?
Yeah, I want like a little potato pug, like the ones that just like
a little potato,
the ones that kind of snort and wiggle around everywhere. So Eli follows Shanae around, and he's real sweet,
religiously,
yeah, like literally. Or Leon, if he comes over, it's funny. He follows Leon around. We call him Grandpa, and so he spends all his time with Shanae mostly. And if we're hanging out before dinner or after dinner watching TV or something, he'll sit on the couch between us, and every once in a while he'll come and like be with me. He likes me outside more than he likes Shanae outside because I throw the ball better and stuff like that. But he follows her around, and so he's kind of like her shadow. And so I want one that does that to me because that's not fair. So when I come home, I mean, he's always happy to see me when I come home and stuff. We'll do our zoomies, and he'll get his scratches, and maybe I'll give him a treat or something. And then he kind of goes and does his own thing. He likes sleeping up in the guest rooms upstairs because the heat of the house, radiates up. He likes being warm, and so like we'll be sitting. I thought I sent you guys a picture of it, but either Saturday or Sunday, can't remember which day it was. I was being a bum. No, Sunday I went to the Run Fest. Saturday I was being a bum on the couch, and was watching TV, and you could see where the sun had come in through my big window in the living room, and he's laying right in the middle of that spot. So he loves being in the heat. But what I want is to be able to come home and have a little pug that hangs out with me and not my wife. But
Gary says don't get a Boston Terrier. They fart all the time.
Really? Yeah. Well, that's good news. I got a fraternity brother that had one eye. Her name was Lou. She was the wildest animal ever. She was always down to
it's funny when
fight and play.
When I got Dusty, he was super energetic. And just like, cause he was young and he was full of energy, and everybody's like, "Oh, you got yourself an ankle biter." And
he was a Chihuahua, wasn't he?
Yeah, well, purebred.
Wow,
purebred. And
those things, those things can be fierce.
15 years.
Wow, good for you, dude. I'm hoping to. I mean, Eli is 7, so I'm hoping to get a couple more good ones out of him.
But when we moved here, I remember the look on his face when he saw all the green. Because I come from the desert, and so my dog was used to being the same color as the ground.
Yeah,
like he was just
tan,
dirt color,
sand,
and so he would just and he loved it because he would lay in the sun and he would get that heat, and he loved that.
Right.
And when he stepped out of the truck the first time when we got here, we got to the apartment we were moving into, and I opened the door and I set him on the ground. He stopped and he stared, and he's just looking around like, "What have you done?" There's so much trees.
Yeah. I remember the first time Eli found snow, he hated it. And so he would kind of.
I'm not saying he saw the color, Gary. I'm just saying it was like he saw the trees and.
I don't know. Isn't that they're supposed to be colorblind?
They are.
I think that's been disproven.
I don't know.
Maybe not. Who knows?
I know that when he saw the trees, he was just kind of like, the desert. We've got like 12 trees where I come from. Okay, they're all dead. They look like twigs. the state color for vegetation is brown, right?
Yeah, I can imagine.
And but when we moved here. He was never used to trees. He was not used to grass. I had a not gravel, but it's like a solid. I can't remember their wood chip front yard. So he's not. He was never used
mulch?
to. Yeah, he was not used to grass or anything like that. So when we got here, I set him down in grass.
Right.
He just kind of like stared around like this is not what we left.
Yeah, it's always fun to see that first experience. Eli came from a breeder, so and I know a lot of people are against breeding. I completely see where you're coming from, but he's a specific bloodline, and the only reason why I got him is my buddy was one of the part of that process, and he has Eli's biological dog father, and so he's just a great temperament. Pit bulls get a really bad rap, but Eli, he's great around kids. I really wanted that kind of temperament, and so I was like, if that dog ever has puppies, I want first pick, and so he let me do that. But yeah, the next dog we get will be from a shelter or something like that. I don't go to like puppy mills and stuff, but. No. But yeah, so
all right. So we're gonna answer one more question, then we're gonna cut. We're gonna cut the stream because we're running a little long. James says, McFarland, are the Chiefs gonna win tonight, or are they gonna get upset?
I really don't want to say yes because then I'll feel like I jinxed us, but I think we're gonna pull it off. It's really hard to play at Arrowhead, especially on a Monday night game. The guys are gonna be all hyped up, and our defense is getting better. The Raiders, like I said earlier, it's a trap game, so. If we win, we're supposed to. If we lose, it's that's the upset. So, I think Chiefs win. I say we're probably as long as we can get the run game going and our offense comes out firing. I'd say it's like a 37 or 42 to like maybe 14 or 10. I don't think it's even close.
Okay.
Hopefully.
All right.
No.
Well, on that note,
if I'm wrong, I'll eat crow on Friday.
If he's wrong, everybody give him a hard time on Friday.
Yep. 150 views. Coop gets to tell you his horrible joke. Everybody have a good start to your week, hopefully. Everybody stay safe out there. As promised, I'm still getting some details finalized, but we're going to bring some more information about 401ks, benefits, stuff like that. Yep. So as soon as I can get more accurate information to tell you that's not speculation, I will. And that's pretty much all I got for me.
All right, that's it. So we appreciate everybody joining us today. Thanks for stopping by. Please, reminder, if you guys have any use of force videos or just videos in general that come to law enforcement, what we do for a living, send them to me. You guys are welcome to email me. I will review those, and if we can use them, we will. And we appreciate everybody stopping by. Thank you so much. If you've got any questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments. I check them every couple of days to make sure that I stay up to date on them. Other than that, we can't thank you guys enough for what you guys do in the field and out of the field. Thank you for joining us today, and we will see you guys on Friday.
Take it easy, guys. Be careful.
Bye.